Hey friends, ZenKahuna here. I got all sorts of good isometric equipment here. So we're going to do a little isometric, isotonic, isokinetic, whatever you want to call it. Start off, I'm going to use my Bulwarker IsoFlow. Okay, so I'm going to start in a relatively low position. We'll start off with isometric. Really putting the oomph into it. I'm going to open my arms outward a little bit, keeping the elbows in close to the side. And then we'll start several repetitions. Putting resistance against this carabiner, which gives you more resistance to pull against. And then I'm going to lighten that up. Go a little faster and relax for just a moment. Then we're going to take the out to the side here. Now, right now, my arms are in front of me a little bit. I'm going to bring them back. And then I'm going to start with an isometric pull. So I'm really engaging the muscles in the posterior chain here. Remember, I'm also engaging the glutes, the abdominals, and then I'm doing this with my arms straight first. Then I'm going to do it a little bit with the arms bent. That puts a whole different requirement into the deltoid area especially. Doesn't look like much, but it is. Then I'm going to take it forward. Adjust my handle here. So, good starting spot, real tight position. And then I'm just going to open my arms out a little bit, isometric. And release. Up a little bit higher now. So you can start in here if you like, but I like my arms out this way. So I'm going to start with isometric. Remember, push the earth away, tighten the hamstrings, the glutes, the abdominals. Now I'm going to push my arm back a little bit farther, keeping that isometric going. And relax. Then we'll go ahead and start our alternating press. So I'm going to continue on with the pressing idea, but I'm going to stick, literally, a stick through the two loops. And I'm going to have those loops inside my hand so they don't slide off the stick accidentally. So starting right about here, we'll do our first isometric. So we're just pressing upward. Think of the shoulder blades going down the back, tighten the glutes, engage the abdominals more, and relax. Now, nice thing about using this is that all I have to do is change where my feet are on the strap to give me more height. So we'll start a little bit higher here. And shoulder blades down, tighten the glutes and abs, press the earth away, roll the shoulders. Then do it with a little bit of a bend as well. Also letting the wrists go from flexion to extension. Okay, so we're near the top of our press, standing press, so here we go. Make sure you continue your breathing. Don't hold your breath. Don't let there be any pressure build up in the head. And relax. Let's go ahead and I'm going to use two different isometric tools. Today is just to show you some different ways you can do things. So one is going to be the iso bow from Bullworker, and one is just a wooden ring. We're going to do a pull apart right here. So you can do it at different levels. For right now, what we're going to do is start inward, so we're in close right by the chest, and pull apart. Now what I'm going to do is continue pulling apart while moving forward and back in. So elbows go back out to the side. And relax. So I'm going to do the same basic movement with the ring. I just want you to see that you can use lots of different types of tools for your isometric work, or in our case, isometric play. So here we go, pull it apart. Now this time what I'm going to do, instead of just pushing out in front, I'm going to maintain my maximum pull here, bring it up overhead and into the back. Pull it down and back up and over. Which do I like better? The ring or the iso bow? I actually like them both. They give me slightly different feelings, a little different engagement, different grip. Of course, the ring is thicker than the handle on the iso bow. So is one better than the other? It just depends on what you like and how you're feeling that day. So if you have a ring, use a ring. If you got an iso bow, use an iso bow. So let's take a look at if we wanted to crush it. Now with an iso bow, the way you'd have to go about that would be to cross your arms over. And you do your isometric this way. So let's do it. So I'm pushing, thinking about tightening those chest muscles. Got the abdominals engaged, got the glutes engaged, pushing the earth away, and relax. So that's with your iso bow. If you're using a ring, you don't have to cross the arms over. So you could press from here, or you could go here and get a press going on, right? So either way, and each position would give you a variation on the idea. So let's come back to the iso bow. One of the things I've been doing lately for a little shoulder soreness that I've got is just taking this. I start with my other arm on top, and I do my first isometric push. So I'm pushing across my body, tightening my chest muscles, glutes, abs, pushing the earth away, and relax. And then I put the other arm on top. And believe it or not, just by putting the arm on top, it changes that position a little bit, and where I'm feeling that discomfort, it's right there. So in this position, push again. Everything engaged, and relax. So that's how I do it with an iso bow. Can you do the same thing with the ring? Of course you can. So once again, don't believe anybody's hype, including mine. You have to make the choices for your life. If you don't, if you're letting other people make your choices, you're acting like a child. So think independently, think critically. And what I'm showing you is just lots of variations. For aesthetics, I like the wood. But for practicality, and throw it in your glove compartment so you've always got it with you, take it to work with you, got it in your desk drawer, maybe this is more functional for you. But if you really dig the aesthetics of this, well, hey, wouldn't that work too? Lots of possibilities is what I'm saying. All right. So I also want to show you, to get started, you don't have to have anything particularly fancy to do isometrics. Of course, you can always just use your own body. So it's Charles Atlas, like a dynamic tension. But this is just a simple stick. We got this when we had the Rancho. I like some of the little marks in it, and then I put a few additional carvings in it. It's about 12 inches long. So let's use it for an isometric movement that, if we do it without isometrics, if we just have a little firm grip, it's called stroke the beard in Qigong. Okay? So what we're going to do is stroke the beard, but we're going to do it with isometric. So we're going to actually hold that, so pushing against that staff, and you can see that the staff is wobbling a little bit, and that's because I'm putting so much pressure against it. It's in the palm of my hand at what's called the Lao Gong point. In different areas it wobbles less. It depends on the amount of strength that I have in each position. When as I'm doing this, I can feel all sorts of different muscle fibers connecting. Also, this is great for the isometrics in general. It's great for your joints and sinew, your fascia. Now we're going to reverse that and go the other way. So I'm going to turn my fingers down. Again, gives me a little different flavor. Now I've still got my glutes engaged, my abs engaged. And breathing. And relax. So, any piece of wood will do. You got an old broom or a shovel handle or something like that, cut yourself a chunk, sand off the ends so it's nice and smooth, and you're ready to rock and roll. Now, of course, you can do all your pulling motions in all different sorts of positions. You can pull, push, you can push together, you can do rotational type movements with a stick. Very handy. Now, let's assume that you wanted to compare an iso bow with just a simple strap. Now, usually you'll see people using these around the legs and doing squat movements, so working their glutes and so on and so forth, which certainly that's a good way of doing it. But you can also use it in the same way you might use an iso bow. So let's say we're doing this movement with the iso bow. Right? So I'm pushing down with one hand, I'm pushing up with the other, right? Now I can do that, and then I can take it through a range of motion, and do that with the iso bow. Or if I just had this strap, I could do some repetitions, and then while keeping that stretched, go up and down. And frankly, in this particular move, I prefer the resistance that I get from this to the iso bow. That being said, I like having both. I use them both. So remember, it's not an either or this is the best. There are many different ways that you can work, and the more diversity you put into your training, the more well-rounded you are, okay? So let's move it forward. Let's come to a rope. Lots of people have old rope laying around. Get yourself a piece of old rope, new rope, whatever you like. This is cotton. I like cotton because it has just a little bit of give initially, so it helps you to find your position of tension better. And I'm going to start just above my head. I'm going to give it a good tug. So what I'm thinking of here is getting those lats engaged in the back, posterior deltoid, triceps a little bit. Now I'm going to maintain that isometric hold as I bring it down. And as I bring it down, and all the way down here to the bottom, still pulling, still engaged with the glutes, the abs, pushing the earth away. I'm saying that over and over again because a lot of people miss some of the benefit of their isometric training because they'll only be focused on doing the pectorals or the bicep or the deltoid or whatever. I don't do my primal nature play in a way that leads to isolation or that uses isolation much. So that same move, so we were pulling apart, we can do with a ring. We could do all those same positions, right? We could use the iso bow. All those same positions. We could use a glute band, but use it for something than just the glutes. Pulling against it as firmly as you can. So, you get the idea, aren't you? Use whatever you have to do whatever you want to do. So I'm going to go to one more isometric device that I particularly like. And if you don't have anything else at home other than a towel or something like that, and you get tired of that, and you want something more than just your rope, this is a iso strap from World Fit. On Amazon, you can get it for $30 delivered if you're a Prime member. So you can't go wrong with this. So here's your basics. So if you're going to do a curl, if you're going to go out and do your some deltoid lift. Now, here's one of the great things about this. It's got cam buckles on both sides. I lots of times only adjust from one side. It just makes it quicker because there's just one buckle that I'm adjusting from. I particularly like the thickness and the quality and the feel and the strength of these straps, and the handles are excellent. They're nice and thick, they're really firm, they roll around quite easily, so your movement is very functional, and it can't be beat. 30 bucks for your first piece of isometric equipment. This will last you literally a lifetime. So what I'm going to do is shorten this up just a little bit. You see how hard that was. And I'm going to still adjust a little bit because I want to start off with a lower position. So that I just adjusted that with my feet where they were holding on the strap. So I'm going to start in nice and close. I'm going to lift out to the side, but I'm going to think about rolling my shoulder blades together. And now I'm going to pull. And relax. Then I'm going to bring my feet in. So I've got a little bit more distance out and pull again. Pull those shoulder blades back, lift up and out. Tighten the glutes, tighten the abs, push the earth away. Keep your breathing going. And relax. Then I'm going to give myself a little bit more strap. This is our final position that I'm going to use for today. Again, pulling the shoulder blades back. The hands are coming back behind my midline, and pull. All right, good. So I'm going to go on with my nature play. But to close the video, what I want to remind you is what the main focus was today. When you're doing your isometric, isotonic, isokinetic, whatever you're doing, use whatever equipment you have to do whatever you want to do. Second takeaway is be creative with what you have. Do it with one piece of equipment, then do a similar move with another piece of equipment. Notice how that works for you. Does it work your forearms better? Does it get your grip better? Does it get some other part of your body better? Do you find your engagement more readily? So you want to always be exploring, creating, discovering, learning in your primal nature play, or whatever you call it. We call it primal nature play. It's a mindful movement practice that we've developed over the last 16 years. And so we invite all of you to, whatever you call your system, whatever you do, make it fun. Remember, you're the guru.